Sahanavavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
22 to the end, please.
Adeshakale yaddanam apatrebhyascha dhiyate asat-kritam avajñātam tat-tamasamudahritam. Om tat-saditi nirdeshaha brahmanas-trividha-smritaha brahmanastena vedascha yajñascha vihitah pura tasmadomityudahritya yajñadana-tapah kriyaha pravartante vidhanoktaha satatam brahmavadinam tadityanabhisandhaya phalam yajñatapah kriyaha dana kriyascha vividhaha kriyante moksha kangshibihi sabdhave sadhubhave cha sadityetat prayujyate prashaste karmani tatha sashabdah parthayujyate yajñe tapasi dane cha sthiti saditi chochyate karma chaiva tadarthiyam sadityevabhidhiyate ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kritam chayat asadityuchyate partha nachatat pretya no iha.
There's a question here. Pushpa Gupta, she here? How can one decide the score one stands on the scale of 0 to 100? Now, that scale was given only to give an idea that there is such a thing as human development. And it's quite arbitrary. We said, from 0 to 100. You've got to imagine that at 0 there's a person who's not at all developed materially, physically, emotionally, intellectually. You've got to imagine that. We usually don't find such people. But let's assume that is at 0%. And then there is a perfect human. We don't know what that perfection is. But let's assume there is such a thing as perfection. Now, what is important for us to understand is we are all somewhere in between. We don't know. Like that's what you're asking. Where am I on that scale? Number one, we got to know where we are. And two is you've got to set the right direction in life. See, if you want to be peaceful, if anybody wants to be peaceful, content, and at the same time you want to be an achiever, whatever you do, you want to achieve things, you want to be successful, efficient, dynamic, whatever. You need to set the right direction. So that was the analogy. But if you really want to know where you stand, you need to study your own personality based on these three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Because that is your what the science calls genome, that's at the physical level. That's what science says. But what are your qualities? Where do you stand? So you don't have to worry about sattva. Sattva takes care of itself. As long as it's preserved, it takes care of itself. It's the rajas and tamas we need to attend to. Because these are, rajas agitates a person. You get worried and anxious and the stress and strain of life, that quality. Tamas is when you remain indifferent. You know, there's a law of inertia. And the law states that an object, I'll put it up for you on the screen, an object continues to be in a state of rest. It's not moving, you know, this is inertia, it's not moving. Or it continues the same motion. It's not only at rest, but it continues the same motion. That's the interesting part of inertia, Newton's law. Inertia, it's in the beginning. In this, you have it in your printout. Look for it. It's in the beginning. So, an object continues to be in a state of rest or in uniform motion. So, even if you're doing things every day in a mechanical manner, without thinking, you don't know why you're doing it, there's no reason, there's no logic. If you get into a systematic way of functioning, that is also tamas. That's what you need to understand, law of inertia. A state of rest where you don't do anything, or in uniform motion, unless otherwise constrained by an external force. You got fever, so you did not continue. Or there's a wedding in the family, so you did not do it. Or you went on a holiday, so you did not do it. Some external force disturbs it. So, coming back, it is these two qualities that ruin your progress. You remain static or you go down. This is the problem. So how do you analyze your personality? That's a whole study. In fact, that's not the scope of this chapter. But if you go through the Vedanta treatise, the book that we Vedanta treatise, the Eternities, chapter 8, it's consummation of human life. In that chapter, there is a topic, it's called personality chart. So what happens is, there are 7 aspects to one's personality. It is actually taken from the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. But if you go through the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, there's hardly anything you'll understand. Not because you are not capable, but it's complex. It is simplified in the Vedanta treatise and directly applicable. So how do you do it is this. The 7 aspects of your personality, each one can be analyzed as sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Now, how do you judge yourself? Now, take a sample of 100 actions. It's not very difficult, roughly. And you can judge, what do you tend to do? Are you calm, composed, serene in those actions, generally speaking? Or do you get excited? You get agitated, worried, anxious. Is that more? Or the other is, you're not aware. You're just not aware. Unconcerned. That is tamas. Unconcerned, when we say, a person is heedless. Suppose the doctor says, look, you need to exercise. Yes, doctor, I will exercise. And you never do it. That's being heedless. You got diabetes. Don't take sugar. You got to control your diet. Yes, doctor, I'll do it. And then what do? Look at everywhere, and if nobody's watching, take the sweets. See, you're not concerned about what effects it will have on you. You have no choice. If you want to live comfortably, you've got to follow those disciplines. It's compulsion. You have to do it. But because you have a choice, you choose to do the wrong thing. That tends to be tamasic, careless, heedless, not conscious of the consequence of those actions. So that's how you can gauge. Okay, so you can say, well, maybe 20 of 100 actions, I'm good. I do my duties and obligations very sincerely. Maybe you put some figure, maybe wrong, but you've got some idea. See, as you pick up knowledge, clarity develops. Initially, when you don't have enough knowledge, you could go quite wrong, but doesn't matter. It's an attempt more than anything else. So then you say, okay, maybe 70% of my actions I get excited and worried and anxious and I'm on the run and I get exhausted. How do you know you're rajasic? You're tired. By the end of the day, you're exhausted, tired. It's a typical sign of rajas. Exhaustion, tired, a little bit of irritation. I get angry when people don't do things properly, however right you are. So all these qualities tend to rajasic side. So you could put 70% is rajas. And then there is always, or 60%, whatever, 60, 20, and then 20% is tamas, where I should have done it, I have not done it. Or if you're late, procrastinating. You know, you've got to do something today, you say, karenge, are dekhenge, you know, that attitude. You don't do things on time. Why isn't this done? I'm planning to do it. The planning is going on, it's never done. Things are not done on time. So that is a quality of tamas. You're not prioritizing. You don't spend the time to do that. That's discipline. If you don't heed it, it's indiscipline. So you put that, okay, I tend to slip, I tend to miss. So that is tamas. So you have a rough idea. I'm predominantly rajasic, but I've also have to tackle a lot of tamas. So that would put you below 50%. See, if everything is sort of balanced, you can say you're average. But if things are not balanced, you're below. But it doesn't matter. See, it doesn't matter where you are. You have a rough idea about your own personality. But what matters is, are you taking steps to move? And what are the steps? The only antidote for any problem, we've already discussed that. Does anybody remember? Like medicine is for disease. Huh? Knowledge. Fortunately, unfortunately, that is the antidote. That's why it's not to become scholars. We're not saying study, study to become scholars. It is the antidote. See, don't you sweep or clean your house or get it cleaned. If you don't clean it, you have servants to do it. But every day you're cleaning. Why? Sweeping, dusting, swapping, every day. In India, sometimes we do it twice a day. Because, why do we do it? Because dust collects. See, even as you have cleaned, it starts collecting. It's seen the next day. If you don't do it the next day, it's seen, it's very evident the following day. You see a layer of dust, and you don't want to do that. So every day, the unnecessary things accumulate. So you have to offload it. That is the cleansing process. You do it to yourself. Every day you have to bathe. I hope. I'm assuming you do. At least we should. So why do you keep? You brush your teeth. It's a cleansing. Constant cleansing. Otherwise you can't survive. Even for normal life, if you don't brush, if you don't clean, you can't survive. You'll be diseased. There'll be a problem to exist. So you're not an animal. Animals don't have to worry about bathing and brushing. They are built in a way that they're taken care of. But it's only a human that has to do it. Or you don't have that quality. And a time will come when you will develop severe problems. This that we're talking about, knowledge, is mental cleansing. That's all it is. So So by the time you finish the day, you're angry about something, you're upset about something, you're envious about something else, you're hurt about something, you're sorrowful, pained by something. You all sorts of unnecessary things you pick up by the end of the day. So first thing in the morning, take all that off your system. Otherwise, you're carrying it and carrying it. It's a burden you're carrying. That is why by the time an average human reaches middle ages, they're tired, exhausted with life. You don't have the energy of a teenager. Why not? Every young person is bubbling with energy. I'm saying every young person because I don't see many here. So I would say, what were you when you were 15? What are you now? No, those days. Why should you slow down? First of all, body has slowed down. You can't do the things you did. There are certain things the body will not be able to do as much. But can't sit, can't bend the legs, can't do this, can't do that. Simply because you've neglected the body. That's why in the academy we have youngsters. Because older people can't do. They've trained themselves not to do. And you allow tamas to settle in so well, starting with the body. That's why when people went up to Swami Vivekananda and asked for spiritual advice, he said, go play football. Go play football means how can, we are not interested in football, you'll say. When he says that, if you are not active physically, forget about spiritual evolution. Just forget about it. You can't. It's not possible. So tamas ought not to set in at any level. And what you can see is the gross physical body. You can see it. Start attending to that. You're okay. This is the direction. What is your intake? We've already seen that. Ahara, yajna, tapa. We've done all that. And we're doing dana. So all aspects of your personality, if you take care, you don't have to worry about 0 and 100. You're on the path. At least it's a life worth living. Otherwise, you're existing on this planet, waiting for the call. Instead of that, live a full life. If you do that every day, study in the morning, and after study, 45 minutes, whatever, start doing physical exercises. Go for a walk. If you can jog or exercise, whatever you can do, it must be physical exercise. You must be sweating. Got to do that. If you don't do that, it's not worth it. That is the life that is recommended to understand the Bhagavad Gita. Understand Bhagavad Gita or Vedanta philosophy or Upanishads, whatever you want to call it. But this knowledge will be gained. When we say, see, you may be well versed in the Gita. You may be able to talk on the Gita, but you will not be living it. If you want to live this subject, which is what you ought to do, then a little bit of knowledge followed by your physical exercises, whatever you choose, and then you attend to all your duties and obligations. You will have the energy of a young person till the last day of your life. That's guaranteed. Not aches and pains and living on tablets and medicines and injections. That's not a life. And anybody can change it. Suppose you say, I've already become this old. Never mind, reverse it. Why don't you do it? Too much effort, no. First of all, getting up in the morning, torture. And studying is a greater torture. I feel sleepy. Sleep, doesn't matter. Sleep at the table. One day you will wake up. You've got to have that Sraddha. You take a decision, do not give up till you achieve it. If you do all that, impossible that you don't tackle tamas and rajas. The problem with especially our country is we are too complacent. We take things easy. That's why our country is where it is. Starting with dirt on the streets. Everybody throws. And you'll say, what if one person keeps the city clean, what will happen? You start. The problem is everybody's thinking that. That's why the whole city is dirty. Put it where it belongs. Respect the rules and laws of your society, of your city, and the country will change. Being punctual. See, if you go to a wedding on time, the invitation says 8 o'clock. They'll say, what is the point in going at 8 o'clock? Because nobody will be there. Bride and bridegroom will not be there. Go there, give your attendance, get out. If everybody starts thinking of punctuality, slowly the society will change. But each one says, what is the point? So nobody does it. Everybody believes somebody else has to set it, then we'll follow it. Start functioning and you'll see the change. Okay? Verse 22.
Adeshakale yaddanam apatrebhyascha diyate asat-kritam avajñātam tat-tamasamudahritam adeshakale yaddanam apatrebhyascha diyate asat-kritam avajñātam tat-tamasamudahritam.
Gift given at a wrong place and time to unworthy recipient without respect, with insult, that is declared tamasika. So, dhanam, we are talking about dhanam, which is tamasika. Yet dhanam diyate, whichever gift is given at adesha kale, wrong place and time, like we saw yesterday, that Swiss gentleman who put his, who burnt his Ferrari because he wanted a new car. Wrong place and time. The fellow's pampered. He's just dumped with things, so he has no value for what he's got. Were not required, or it could be detrimental. So you give charity. You see a beggar, you give charity. That fellow goes and drinks. Or he could be on drugs. So as far as you're concerned, I've done a good deed. One step to heaven I've got. Why? You've done charity. But you do not know where it's going. So that gift is not that easy. You've got to be careful who you're giving it, for what reason. And then he says, to unworthy persons, meaning a person who has no merit, there's no merit, not deserving. So then why do you give? It's impulsive, indiscriminate, or a mechanical expression. One more thing to do. Even in the Bhajagavindam he says, if you lead a good life, what is that? I must go to the temple or church or mosque and pray once a week. I must do charity once a week. Or I must do this. He says, even if you do all the good things, never do anything wrong, 1,000 years, 100 years if you do it, even then you will remain the same, he says in Bhajagovinda. Meaning you will be full of desires and agitations. Unless you remove these desires and other negative qualities through knowledge, there is no way you can escape. Even in the Bhajagovinda, he says the same thing. So just because it's a good act, you do it. No, we're not saying don't do it. But it must be done the proper way. So this tamasic gift is not a proper gift to unworthy causes. So there could be causes that are unworthy. See, one of the problems, even in trusts, you have a lot of trust. We ourselves are a charitable trust. And to get the exemption is difficult because most people misuse trusts. They have trust, but what they do where they donate is not worthy. That's what the government is deciding. That's why they're very, very strict about giving exemptions because of misuse. Misuse means it's a very simple, okay, my brother-in-law's neighbor asked for it. I can't refuse my brother-in-law, therefore I gave it. That's not merit. It is not to a deserving person. It is indiscriminate giving. Just because you have the power to give, you give it to a person out of pressure. not because the person deserves it. So that is unworthy. And then he says, even when it is given, there's no due respect. Don't make a person wait. I can't go into the details, but there is a portion in the Select English Poem book. A lot of poems, but a few literary pieces are there. One such piece is a letter by Samuel Johnson. You know who Samuel Johnson was? You know what he was known for, Samuel Johnson? Nobody knows? The person who gave us the first dictionary. We're all using dictionaries now. He is the person who gave us the first dictionary, an Englishman, Samuel Johnson. So he, at that time, nobody knew the value of a dictionary, so he needed a patron to publish that dictionary. And there was a Lord Chesterfield, whose patronage he was wanting to get to publish the dictionary. And then he went to his place for 7 years. 7 years. And neither did he say, get out, nor did he say, come in. Neither did he say, I'll help you, or I'm sorry, I cannot help you. So he said he waited in the outward doors. And the letter he writes is something you must read. He's not harsh, but he puts it all together in a short letter to acknowledge what Lord Chesterfield did after he managed to publish the dictionary without his help. After it was published, he put a note in the newspaper. Now, Samuel Johnson has to acknowledge that note, that endorsement, that is a dictionary or whatever. And that you must read to understand. He says, is not a patron one who encumbers you with help once you have reached shore. See, when you are struggling in the water, he watches you. But once you come to shore, he comes, aye, come. Because he knows now you've already got the name. You don't need his help. But he says, that is a patron. Patron is one, he said, because of what all happened. One who gives you help after you've reached the shore. But while you're struggling, he watches. So, it's a gift, no doubt, to make an endorsement in the paper, but it is not with respect. You have not honored the person for the effort he has put in, not given him a hearing when he wanted it. So, that is a tamasic gift. Though it was a gift, it was tamasic. And he says with contempt. Sometimes people give. The beggar comes and asks, if you want to give, give it. Not, what do you want? Paisa, acha le lo, go. It's with disrespect, out of contempt. If you don't want to give, nobody's forcing you. But if you think the person needs help, give it with respect, not with contempt. Just because he's on the asking side. Imagine if you were on the asking side. If you need something and somebody did that. That's why Christ said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do to others whatever you would want them to do for you. That's the way to behave. So if you behave like that, remember, somebody will do that to you too. That's not the way to function. So he says with insult, that is declared tamasika.
Om Tat Sadati Nirdeshaha Brahmanas Trividha Brahmanastena Vedascha Yajnascha Vihitah Pura Om Tat Sadati Nirdeshaha Brahmanas Trividha Brahmanastena Vedascha Yajnascha Vihitah Pura.
Now we enter the last topic where he talks of Om Tat Sat. And this term, Om Tat Sat, represents the truth, the reality. Anything other than the truth, the reality, is termed asat. A means non, sat is reality, non-reality, which is false, temporary. So now he says in the 23rd verse, Om Tat Sat has been considered the threefold designation of Brahman, from which arose Brahmanas, Vedas, sacrifices of yore. It's a very scientific text. You've got to be carefully following the flow of thought. And then you get the whole picture. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. And then it's all put together, you see the whole picture. Now, so far, he's been guiding us how to start. First of all, to achieve anything in this world, you must have consistency. Otherwise, you cannot achieve. And that too, sattvik consistency. If you have tamasik or rajasik Sraddha, you will not achieve anything. You will remain in this world, caught up in this world, lost in this world, troubled by the world, riddled by the world. That's what will happen. Even though you're working. See, we're talking about people who are working from morning till night, very sincerely. They're functioning, but they don't achieve because the Sraddha is of rajasic or tamasic nature. But it's only sattvik Sraddha that will take you through. And then, how do you handle your own personality? So he said, starting with, remember, the 3 transactions, like a factory, the raw material you feed. See, first thing in the morning, if you read these values, chances are it will percolate through your experiences in the day. So you start off with noble thought, and then what happens? A fellow did not come on time. Somebody else is cheating you. Things will happen. But the flavor of these thoughts will take over the negative experiences that you have. You will look at it from a totally different angle. It's called pratipaksha bhavana. Pratipaksha bhavana is to look at the same thing from a totally different angle. You could be negative, you could be positive. It has nothing to do with what the world is. How do you define an optimist? How do you define a pessimist? A pessimist is one who will find difficulty in any opportunity. You give him an opportunity, he will give you all the problems with that. What he cannot do, why he cannot do it, what are all the problems he is facing in that opportunity. An optimist is one who will find an opportunity in any difficulty. You put him in a spot, he will find an opportunity and come out of it. That's an optimist. It has to do with the way you perceive. It has nothing to do with the world. The world is the same. The world will be what it is. Right, wrong, good, bad. This is what the world is. But how do you face it? A knife could be beneficial, a knife could be detrimental. But without a knife, it is difficult to function. It's a very useful instrument. If you do not know how to relate to a knife, you can hurt yourself and others. If you know how to relate to the knife, it becomes something that you need every day. You cannot do without it. It's so useful. It all depends on how you relate to anything in life. Even the most difficult situations, you will find an opportunity if you have the right frame of mind. And the right frame of mind will come with knowledge. Without knowledge, it is, I don't know what it is, trial and error. That's what your life will be. Whatever comes your way, if good things happen, you are excited. If bad things happen, you are dejected. That's why you go on a roller coaster ride. Up, down, up, down, up, down. That's why by the time you reach middle ages, you're tired. Because you've been thrown about so much. One time is so much of excitement. Happy, 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 happy. Next moment, you come crashing down. How much can you take? Suppose you don't have a smooth road to go. All the time you're going up and down. You won't be able to take it. So this is a mental roller coaster you're going through. You don't realize. You will be dizzy, you will be, I don't know, you will not be normal. It's a miracle how we are all existing. It's a miracle. Somehow or the other we are existing. Until something hits us, we carry on. That's why we say, stop, think. Let's not lose this opportunity. Let's put things together and work our way to a sensible life. So, Om Tat Sat. So we've got to follow the disciplines that we have given throughout the chapter, and now he's summing it up, giving us reason. Why are we saying that this is what you ought to do in life? You've got to find the truth. You've got to find the reality. Otherwise, it's an opportunity wasted. So, Om Tat Sat has been considered the threefold designation of Brahman. Brahman, you can strike off Brahman, put there reality, truth, self, God, whatever name you want. That's something that we do not know of. Beyond your physical body, beyond your mind, beyond your intellect lies that truth, that reality in each one. But the moment we talk about ourselves, the moment we talk about our experiences, we get involved in what we are experiencing rather than what enables us to experience. It's very simple. It's not complicated. Right now you're seeing, you're hearing, you're understanding or not understanding. You're liking this, you're not liking this. All this is going on in each one in different ways. Now your attention is on your experience, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're feeling, what you're thinking. That's where your attention is. But none of us seems to realize that there is something that is enabling us to do all this. Just as you see light coming out of the bulb. You see the light. When you purchase the bulb in a shop, is there light? It has everything. It has the casement, it has the filament, it's all set to give light, but there is no light until it connects with electricity. The moment the bulb connects with electricity, there is a brilliant expression of light. Similarly, you are an expression of life. There's so much life in you. You're seeing, you're hearing, you're feeling, you're thinking, a million things that are going on in your own personality. You're so full of life. From where are you getting this life? Don't say the body. If you cut a piece of body, it will lie there like a wood or stone. It has no life. But right now, each one's body is an expression of life. So also your mind. Your mind is feeling all the time. Your intellect is thinking all the time. From where does the body, mind, and intellect get that life from? There is something beyond. We don't know. And that something beyond is your real personality, not what you believe yourself to be today. You may say, rightly, look, I know this is very inspiring, all that you're saying, but it really doesn't bother me that I don't know the self. You would rightly say that. I'm carrying on with my life. I've got my husband, my wife, my children, my business, my profession, my friends, my whatever, and life is going on. Why do I need this? I'm interested, so I've come. I respect the Bhagavad Gita, so I'm sitting here. But believe me, if I don't have my job, I don't know if I'll be able to live. But if I don't have this knowledge, I can happily live. That's what you would believe. And I don't blame you. And I'm saying all this because today is the last day. You can go away with whatever thoughts you want. Each one believes, do we need this knowledge? It doesn't seem necessary. I can carry on with my life without this knowledge. That's what you all firmly believe because you've not taken up this knowledge. What you don't understand is you're seeing the surface. I know I've given this example many times, but I'll repeat it. For those who have not heard the example, please cooperate and help me answer the questions, okay? But those, I know many faces come here many times. So don't answer because let the others who don't know answer. It gives them that assurance that there is some knowledge here that they can carry home, all right? So what we're saying is, you need this knowledge. That's everyone. But you're not convinced. So I'm trying to give an example which will throw light on this fact that everyone, consciously or unconsciously, directly or indirectly, is trying to get this knowledge. Not the way we're talking, but in their own way. You don't know. Imagine a coil spring 4 feet high. Those who have heard it, just observe, keep quiet, okay? Those who have not heard it, please help me answer. A coil spring 4 feet high. Are you all okay with that example? Can you understand what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. Now I compress this coil spring to 1 foot. What do you think is happening to my palm? There's a pressure. Urging my palm which way? Only upward. Please note. It will never go the other way. The tremendous pressure pushing my palm upward. Okay, so I release it to 2 feet. What happens now? There is pressure, but less pressure. 3 feet, still less pressure. Now I release it to 4 feet. What happens at 4 feet? What happens at 4 feet? Only 1, 2 voices are coming. What happens at... Huh? There is no pressure. Let's be clear. See, because we're talking about pressure, let's go in the same direction. 1 foot, tremendous pressure, urging my palm only one way. Please note, only one way, no other way. 2 feet, less pressure. 3 feet, still less pressure. 4 feet, no pressure. Now, why is there no pressure at 4 feet? Why? Because it has reached its original state. Simple example, common sense. Now friends, please understand, all of us are going through pressures. You got your fingers ready. I am pressurized because this person is annoying me. I am pressurized because the mobile is ringing. No, I'm not pressurized. But you could say that. Otherwise, I'm very peaceful. But the moment I hear something, it irritates. You could say that. It has nothing to do with the mobile ringing or not ringing. It has nothing to do with your neighbor or mother-in-law or sister-in-law or brother-in-law. I don't know what the problems are. It means you are not in your original state. That's all it means. Now, what are you doing about getting back to your original state? Are you conscious? Do you know? See, you can get the best of things in this world. You can be the richest person. Rockefeller. We saw that, right? What did he say, Rockefeller? He wants a little more. That's all he wants. He's not happy with what he had. No, we're not criticizing. We're saying it will not give you satisfaction. The most powerful person is not happy. The most knowledgeable person. I don't know if it was Sir Isaac Newton or Einstein, I think it was Newton, who said he felt like a little boy collecting pebbles with all the knowledge he had, all that he had contributed to the world. He said he felt like a little boy collecting pebbles on the shore while the ocean of knowledge, we got it? I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself, I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore and diverting myself in now and then finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, whilst the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me. When are we going to get to that state of Isaac Newton? But with all that knowledge, please understand, it's very well for us to say, but a man who has spent his whole life for knowledge and says, what is my knowledge compared to my ignorance? So there's no satisfaction. We're not saying he's unhappy, but he's not found fulfillment. It's another way of saying you're not happy. And this will go on. The most beautiful person in the world, not happy. Have you not heard of celebrities ending their lives? We look at them with jaws dropping. But they are miserable. See, when a person ends his life or her life prematurely, unnaturally, it means they have suffered, and then can't take the suffering and end. Ending the life doesn't mean one fine day they wake up and say, you know what, I've decided to die. It's not that. It's suffering. But we are saying, wow. We look at them because we see them in the papers, we see them smiling, we see them holding hands. I don't know what we see. And we are so enamored. But we don't see what's going on within. Like I said, we are not criticizing, we are only analyzing. So you can go out into the world and get everything and still be pressurized because you are not moving in the right direction. So when he's saying Om Tat Sat, you got to get to that state. It is the designation of Brahman, another name for Brahman, which he's going to explain, from which arose everything. Brahmins, it is, when you go to buy a fruit, the vendor will pick up one fruit. Lijiye. What is he giving? Best one. But when he packs, he may not pack the best. So they'll show the best sample so that you get it. Similarly, when they say Brahmanas, it means the best of humans. There are a whole lot of others, but that is what a human being should be, Brahmana. And Vedas is the highest knowledge. All the knowledges are there. Knowledge of burgling is also there. Vedas are also there. But that's the range. The best is the Vedas and sacrifice of all actions. There are so many actions in this world, but the best is sacrifice. So from that arose all this, and he continues.
Tasmadomityudahritya yajna tapah kriyaha pravartante vidhanoktaha satatam brahmavadinam tasmadomityudahritya yajna tapah kriyaha pravartante vidhanoktaha satatam brahmavadinam.
Therefore, acts of sacrifice, gift, and austerity, as enjoined in the scriptures, are begun by students of Brahman, always uttering Om. So first of all, he states, look, this is the reality. Om Tat Sat. He's just giving 3 words. Now he's explaining every one of them. And he says here, in the 24th verse, he's talking about Om, Brahman. He says, students of Brahman, meaning seekers of truth. And you don't have to run away from what you're doing. Who's a seeker? A seeker is one who whose focus is on finding the truth in and through his obligations in this world. No, you don't have to get away. You could, but you don't have to. You don't have to get away from your duties and obligations in the world. But where is your focus? See, when we say that, in other words, to put it simply, you could be sitting in an ashram, you could be sitting in the Himalayas, thinking of what all is happening in the world outside. The clothes people wear, the cars they travel in, the food they eat, look at where we are, look at where they are. You could be thinking. Sitting in an ashram or sitting in a temple, you could be thinking of all the enjoyments in the world. Or you could be doing your business, your profession, or taking care of your family obligations, working for society, or whatever in the world. But your thoughts are, when will I get to the truth? How do I get to the truth? How do I find my way to the truth? So it's not what you do in life that matters, but why you do it, how you do it. That sets the direction. So he's saying here, begun by students of Brahman, those who are interested in seeking the truth, uttering Om. When they say utter Om, means the focus is on reaching the truth. In other words, you are using your life in this world as a means to an end, not an end in itself. This is the difference. So when you utter Om, you're using it as a means to an end. And if you do that, you will never get entangled, attached, enmeshed. See, if you don't do this, what happens? We are all bound. Why don't you come to the academy and spend some time? I'd love to come, but family, no. Obligations I have. I'm not saying leave your family and come. Who will take care of the family? Not us. So, we are not talking about neglecting. We're talking about being bound, shackled. You're not able to do what you want to do. You say, you know how much I want to do? I can feel it. But you're not able to do it. Why? Because of attachment. Because you're bound. Because you're shackled. And why are you bound? Why? Nobody is binding you. You are binding yourself. So the greatest achievers in the world, the difference between an ordinary person and the greatest achiever, ordinary person is in a cage made of iron bars. Greatest achiever in this world, the richest and the most powerful and the most famous and the most, you can put all the superlative degrees, that person is in a diamond cage. That's all. One is an iron ordinary cage, other is diamond cage, golden cage, whatever you want. Diamond studded golden cage. Or you can add whatever you want in that. That's the difference. Both are caged. Difference is little external show is there, that's all. Internally, same binding. No difference. There's no difference between a man in a slum and a king in a palace. Same binding. Because you're mentally enmeshed. Same worry. That fellow's got worry in 200 rupees. This person has got worry in 2,000 crores. But the worry is the same. Worry doesn't change. In 200 rupees, worry is little bit. In 2,000 crores, very much. Both will have heart attack. Both will have heart depression. Everything. Everything is the same. The suffering is the same. Does not change whether you're in this cage or that cage. And that's the appeal. Why are you suffering unnecessarily, being enmeshed? So, the acts of sacrifice, gift, and austerity, whatever has been recommended earlier, and we've already gone through that, as enjoined in the scripture, follow the method scientifically. Don't take on your own ways of functioning. You've got to be careful. If you do that, with the goal in mind as a means to an end, not an end in itself, he says, these people are bound to reach the truth. That is explanation of Om, and then he continues.
तदित्यनभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपः क्रियाः दानक्रियाश्च विविधाः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः तदित्यनभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपः क्रियाः दानक्रियाश्च विविधाः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः.
Without aiming at fruit, various acts of sacrifice, austerity and gift are performed by seekers for liberation. Tat. See, he's going bit by bit. Can you see? He spoke about Om, now Tat, and then he will do Sat. He's concluding now. And the words of sacrifice, austerity, gift are repeated because he's already given you the disciplines. All that has already been covered. So now he's only summing it up. He says, Abhisandhaya phalam. The important thing in following these disciplines is to drop the fruit. Drop the fruit means don't be result oriented. Am I getting it? Am I getting it? How far have I come? All the time checking. See, if you find the right thing to do in life, do it to the best of your ability. Like Thomas Huxley told us. It may be the first thing you learn. Your training begins with that. It may be the last thing you master. But that's the way you must live your life. See, it's something like this. If you want to go, where are we? Delhi to London, let's say. You've not been traveling often and you don't know anything about traveling abroad. First time you're going, a person is going, you're very worried. Will I reach London? How will I reach London? Very worried. A person who's traveling for the first time and he's not used to, he comes from the village, let's say. He doesn't know anything. So what do you tell him? Relax. How do I relax? No, you just go to a travel agent and you take a ticket, you buy a ticket, and then on the day, designated day, go to the airport, check in, go to the counter, check. You give him the method. And then he'll give you a boarding card. You take the boarding card, go to the gate, and you go to the gate, they'll put you onto the aircraft, and then when you sit in the aircraft, relax. Why? Why? How can I relax? Because I'm still here in Delhi. You will reach London. But how? Now, how to explain that to that fellow? And then you have made the mistake of sitting next to him in the flight. Now he's saying, you can't, there is no signboards, there are no roads here. Where? In the air. How do you know this is going to London? He's asking. Every 5 minutes, are we going towards London? But so much money I have spent, hard-earned money, I have to go to London. Arey Baba, you don't know what, give him some sleeping pills and put him to sleep. Because there's a long flight, you know. The fellow's bugging you every 5 minutes. Am I reaching? Are we going? How do you know? How are you so sure? You got the ticket, na? Yes, I bought the ticket. You went to the counter, you went to the gate, isn't it? Yes. You sat in the aircraft. You will reach. But how? What do you tell him? This is what happens to us when we take spiritual journey because we do not know the destination. Self-realization. What is that? Will I be peaceful? But I am not peaceful yet. Wait, you have to, it'll take time. There's a backlog. You have to clear all the negative things first. It's like debts. You have to clear all the debts. Even if you clear all the debts, you say, nothing is in the bank, nothing is in the bank. Yes, because all that you've earned is gone to clear the debts. Then should I still earn? Of course, if you want money, you better earn. After you clear the debt, slowly it starts building up. But before the debts are cleared, you said, nothing is in the bank, nothing is in the bank. I'm earning. Yes, you have to study every morning. Nothing is happening. It will not happen now. So that's all he's saying. Drop that fruit, because when you think of the fruit all the time, it's only anxiety in another form. You will not be performing your actions properly. And if you don't perform your actions properly, you'll not get the results. So it is a practical way, not only for spiritual life, for anything that you do in this world. Yes, you need to plan. You need to have a goal. You need to work for a fruit, no doubt. Without a goal, without a fruit, you will not be acting at all. But once you commence your action, you've done all that you need to do, and you have to keep going in the right direction. Then don't let these thoughts come and disturb you. That's all he's saying. If you do that, you are sure to reach your destination happily. That's why you see a movie in the aircraft, you have a drink and you eat food, aram se, because you know you've done everything that you have to do. There's nothing more to do. It's a question of time. It will come. That's the confidence you will get if you have followed all that has been said so far. So without aiming at fruit, various acts of sacrifice, austerity and gift are performed by seekers for liberation. Next two verses together.
Sadbhave sadhubhave cha sadityetat prayujyate prashaste karmani tatha sajabdah parthayujyate yajne tapasi dane cha sthiti saditi chochyate karma chaiva tadarthiyam sadityevabhidhiyate.
In the 26th verse, he says, Sat, this is used in the sense of reality and goodness, O Partha. Also the word Sat is used as an auspicious act. The 27th verse, steadfastness in sacrifice, austerity and gift is also called Sat. Also action for Tat, Brahman, is even called Sat. Now we are totally confused. We don't know what he's saying. Now, you don't have to worry, we'll explain that. See, 24, he talked about Om. That the phrase is Om Tat Sat, which means the ultimate truth. There are different words indicating the ultimate truth, the reality, ultimate destination. When you hit the 100th mark, whatever Christ or Krishna, Muhammad or Buddha, Mahavira, all these great masters reached, that state of perfection is designated as Om Tat Sat. So even the symbol Om, it has so much meaning, which unfortunately we can't really get into those discussions. That's why in the academy, the same chapter, we would have taken a few weeks to cover, which we are finishing in 4 days. 4 evenings, not even days. So you got to bear with this time constraint. But anybody who's interested, I've already told you, the books are available. I don't know, other forms are available. The e-learning is available. And you have a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita itself. And incidentally, this particular word Om has a very deep meaning. It's explained in the symbolism of Hindu gods and rituals. Why Om is a universal sound. And how it represents the truth. That's an explanation by itself. But for now, we're taking it as a representative or a symbol of the truth. So he says, uttering Om in the 24th verse means all your activities are used as a means to an end. Remember we said, you may either confine your worship to your little puja room and a few minutes or hours that you spend, or you could convert the whole world into your place of worship, and every act that you perform is a dedicated action. See, whether you could sweep a street, or you could cook a meal, or you could do your business, or you could be patriotic for the country, any ordinary or extraordinary act, it must be done with that Sraddha. Then it becomes worship. I think it was Martin Luther King, who's talked Junior, I think he talks about, there you have it. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted or Beethoven composed music or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, "Here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well." It's not only Bhagavad Gita, anybody worth the name, respect it. It's worship. So whether it's Beethoven or a painter or somebody writing poetry or just sweeping the street, it doesn't matter what you do. It matters how you do it, why you do it. You convert every action into worship, you will be a ball of energy. Otherwise, you'll be sinking and dragging yourself through the day. When do I finish this? Acha, is it over? Acha, when is that getting over? My God, I'm getting a headache. It's too much. You're bogged down by the end of the day. Half a day you're bogged down. By the time you reach office, traffic is terrible. Traffic, you get upset. The traffic will be there. Do Ram Jap as you go. Instead of worry, you're worried about the sound, you're worried about the weight. Think of the Lord. Think of something higher while you're waiting. No, you won't think. You'll be worried. Why are we late? Why are we late? Why is it not moving? What is going to happen? Whatever. You can't do anything. You can't push all the vehicles. You may as well calm down and think of something higher. You won't do that because you've not learned to focus on something higher. So your whole life can be converted into worship. Every action, if you have the right attitude. So that is conversion. And then he says you perform all these in the last verse, dropping the fruit. You do everything that you have to do and then forget the fruit. See, the moment we invest time and effort, we are worried about returns. I've put in so much effort, I've put in so much time, and will I get what I want? Will I get what I want? That itself will agitate you. And when you're agitated, you cannot think properly. If you cannot think properly, you cannot act correctly. And if you don't act correctly, you will never get the result. So you're putting yourself in that cage unnecessarily. So that is the last verse that we did. And now in these two verses, he's talking about sat. Sat is another word for enlightenment. So what do we understand? By that state, he says, sadbhave, it's a sense of reality. This is the nature, characteristic of the truth. Reality means that which persists. You know, on the first day I asked, how do you define truth? What is real? Remember that? Don't say that was first day, now 3 days have passed. Too much to remember. Definition of truth is that which existed in the past, which exists now, and will continue to exist in the future. This truth will never die. But your body can go, your mind can go, your intellect can go, your wealth can go, your health can go, your friends can go, your family members can go, everything can go, not the truth. Therefore, he says, that something which never leaves you. That's why when Moses went up to the mount and received the 10 commandments, you would have heard of the 10 commandments. So you receive the 10 commandments from the voice of God. Now don't go to the mountain and look for somebody to speak to you. Because if you try, then you will be taken to a psychiatrist. It's all symbolic. We are only quoting it because it is in keeping with what we're saying. So when Moses went up to the mount and received the 10 commandments, he said, I will pass on these commandments to the people, but who should I say gave me these commandments? And the voice of God replied, tell them, I am that I am. I am that I am. Meaning, that I am is constant. I am happy, I am unhappy. I am good, I am bad. I am right, I am wrong. In anything, any experience, I am is constant. I am a child, I am a youth. I am an adult, I am an old person. The child is different from the youth, is different from the adult, is different from the old man, old person, but the I am is same. Not only in you. You see a tree outside, you say the tree is existing. You chop the tree down, the tree is gone, but the trunk is existing. You cut the trunk into planks, the trunk is gone, plank is. You convert the plank into a table, the plank is gone, table is. Then you say, okay, I'll burn this table, set fire to it, the table is gone, ash is. That isness will never die. Amness will never die. But we are concentrating on that which perishes, not that which is constant. Sat bhave, the sense of reality, that is the truth. You've got to x-ray through the impermanent aspects of yourself and the world and try and see there is something permanent. That vision is going to help you. That focus will help you. So, sadhu bhave, goodness, anything that is positive will take you to the truth. Anything that is negative will bring you down, like that coil spring is going away from the truth. If you take up things that are positive and good, it will take you towards the truth. Sadhu bhave, auspicious act that leads to enlightenment. And then in the 27th he says, steadfastness, which is what we've been talking about. You've got to stay on the path, not be distracted by some temptation here and some temptation there. Because you've got something to achieve now. Earlier you did not know. Now there's something to achieve. Stay with this path. Be steadfast. In sacrifice, austerity, and gift, that is the disciplines that are recommended. And these are also called sat because these actions will take you to the truth. So sat is the goal and the means are these disciplines with the focus, dropping the fruit, but staying with the path. All that will take you to the truth.
Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kritam chayat asadityuchyate partha na cha tat pretya no iha. Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kritam chayat asadityuchyate partha na cha tat pretya no iha.
Whatever is sacrificed, given or done, and whatever austerity is practiced without Sraddha is called asat, which is not here or hereafter, O Partha. So he has so far given all that is reality, that will take you to the truth. That is sat. Now he says, see, the ultimate goal of human existence is enlightenment, to get there. But how many find enlightenment? How many get to that state? You have a one Krishna, or one Buddha, one Mahavira, one Muhammad, one Jesus Christ. You don't have them by the dozens because the attractions of the world are so many. It's impossible. See, that's what Adi Shankaracharya tells us in the Bhaja Govinda. Balastavat krida saktaha. When you're a child, you'll say, child has to play, na? Play things, fool around. Child. And you will also encourage, oh, acha beta, okay, play, okay. That doesn't mean you tell the child, no more playing. Opposite will never work. We're saying understand what is happening. So as a child, play is justified, naturally. What else? Okay, then balastavat krida sakta, tarunastavat taruni sakta. As a youth, you're engaged in your passions and ambitions, and I must get this and I must get that. And all that is encouraged. Vriddhastavat chinta sakta. Okay, have you finished with everything? Now can you concentrate on the self? Oh, now worry what will happen to my money. That the new daughter-in-law is coming. I don't know if I can trust that. The son-in-law is even worse. All that problem, the money, which way to put it there, or should I put it in their name or this name, or should we joint account or this account, or all sorts of worry. Now that you've got money, worry. When do you have the time to think of the higher? Every stage in life, you are so enmeshed, it's impossible to wriggle out unless you have that focus, unless you have Sraddha. It's not possible. So he says, if you so much as justify all your preoccupations, it is called asat. You will move from iron bar to golden bar to diamond bar, period. But it will be a bar. You will never be free. So you got to understand the purpose of life. And the chapter, this whole chapter has taught us how with Sraddha, the three major human activities, receipt, reaction, response, you can guide your activities to the ultimate perfection. Even if you don't hit the 100 mark, it's a far, far better life to live. You will be peaceful. You will be happy. You will be cheerful. You will be full of energy till the last day of your life. And what's more, you will contribute to your family, to your society, to your children, to your relative, everywhere, because you have purified yourself. It's a far, far better life. The choice is yours. Om Tat Sat
इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे श्रद्धात्रयविभागयोगो नाम सप्तदशोऽध्यायः.
When we complete a text, we have the humility to believe. We begin our study from today, and with that we will read the first verse of the chapter together, please.
Arjuna uvacha ye shastra vidhimutsrujya yajante shraddhayanvitaha tesham nishtha tu ka Krishna sattvamaho rajastamaha.
Thank you very much. If you will be seated, we will be distributing some prasad. Thank you.